We're going to call to order the Board of Education meeting for Monday, December 10th. If everybody would rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have all board members present, almost anyway. And I would entertain a motion to adopt our agenda, including the supplemental personnel report. And we do have the addition of the item 10C7 under new business for the approval of guaranteed maximum price for the admin building.
I'll move.
Second. Motion by Ryan and a second by Tracy. All in favor? 7-0. Okay, and Tammy, did you have a chance to look the bills over?
Yes. And so I make a motion for approval
Okay.
for the bills.
I'll second.
Motion by Tammy and a second by Jeff. All in favor? 7-0. Okay, and we are ready then for the Stuco reports. We'll start with Dodge City High School with Alejandro Rangel.
Okay. Hello, Board and Dr. Dirksen. We've had a very eventful month and are planning on continuing this in final stretch of the first semester. We begin our canned food drive this week, and we decided to change it up a little bit this year to increase the amount of donations we get by offering those that donate either 2 cans or $2 a chance to be entered into drawings to win prizes such as front row parking around the school, gift cards to their favorite restaurants, and movie tickets, among many other things. Last Wednesday, we conducted a survey available to all students and faculty asking about their nationalities to collect information about the student body for an upcoming student council project and to help us better represent the students. We had a lot of great recommendations as well to help us on our journey of being a more representative Stuco. The survey revealed that we have students from over 30 countries, including Haiti, Nigeria, Thailand, Laos, Argentina, Brazil, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, to name just a few. As for the recommendations, they want us to provide more activities at the high school, make other cultures feel appreciated and included, and grant more attention to the non-sports extracurriculars such as debate, Scholars Bowl, forensics, eco-meet, and Skills USA, which I personally agree with. A lot of students in these activities feel left out and demotivated at times due to a lack of recognition for their achievements in comparison to sports. So I think student council and the administration at the high school and at the school district itself should take these recommendations and work towards a solution to the things that students see as important, not only at the high school, but also in the middle schools and the elementary schools. Those are the two main things that we did last month and early this month. We have a couple other things to round out to round out this semester, and we have a lot of other things planned for the rest of the school year. Are there any questions or anything you want me to clear up today?
You guys have had a half a year to be in all the new buildings and everything. How does everybody like the newness of things and the way things are?
The new wing has been utilized a lot. A lot of the furniture there has been moved around a lot being moved into the spaces that they need it. The maker space has been really, really nice this year. And I think the indoor half football field was also pretty nice as well. I think the students are reacting pretty well to all of the new additions, and it's a lot less cramped at the high school now. The hallways are still a bit much during passing period, but there's not really much to be done about that, considering we have like 2,000 students. So, anything else?
You bet. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Andrea Yates from Comanche Middle School was not able to be here. They did forward the report, so I'll kind of breeze through that quickly. They had family night of art and reading, And the students rotated between the college, the Art Guild, and the Carnegie to view the artwork. And then they went to Depot Theater to view their own student artwork and read stories written by the students. I ran into some of them on that evening, and they were having a blast, it looked like. Food drive is completed, and all donated items were given to the Manna House. They had a winter dance last Friday. Admission was 2 cans of food, which will also be donated to the Manna House. Christmas activity day on Wednesday, December something. They don't have the date in there. We'll be holding their Christmas activity day. There'll be bingo, dodgeball, movie, and gym activities. And basketball, they've had a great learning season with limited wins in between. Hope we can get one today. All right. And now we're ready for Grace Pelton from Dodge City Middle School.
Good evening. We have been very busy at DCMS since the last time I was here to present to you. On Friday, November 30th, we had one of our school's favorite activities, a dodgeball tournament. This tournament raised money for a DCMS 6th grade student battling cancer. We had over 300 students participate and raised $2,295 for the student and his family.
Wow.
Our National Junior Honor Society went to Manor of the Plains Nursing Home and helped them decorate for the holidays. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great way to connect with our community. National Junior Honor Society also collected food donations, and we had started to prepare for the next class leadership being held in Cimarron, and we will continue to look for additional ways to help the community. Our athletic teams are having a great season too. We hosted a wrestling meet against Comanche and won first place. The wrestling teams also got fifth place at their Great Bend meet. Girls basketball had a game against Great Bend, and the 8th grade A team and 7th grade B team won both games. Our Scholars Bowl team had started practicing to prepare for the first meet coming up in January. Our band had the opportunity to be a part of Parade of Lights this year and enjoyed marching in the event. Our 8th grade band will be going around to classrooms during the last week of school, caroling door to door, playing holiday music for the students and staff. We are excited and grateful to have such great opportunities at our school and look forward to the upcoming holiday break. Finally, our school has also started to take predictive SMIs and SMRs so students can compare scores and the progress they have made in class since the beginning of the school year. We hope everyone has a great, safe, and healthy holiday break. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks,
Thank you
Grace.
for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready for recognition of visitors. Persons may present ideas or concerns regarding USD 443 schools. No action will be taken by the board at this meeting. Personalities and behavior of employees are not to be presented during this period, but are to be reported to the employee's immediate supervisor. The president shall determine the amount of time to be spent for citizen participation. If you'd like to address the board, please do so now. Seeing nobody jump up, we'll move on. To the consent agenda, we have the approval of personnel, including the supplemental personnel report, approval of minutes from the November 26th Board of Education meeting, approval of Bright Beginnings Policy Council minutes for September and October, approval of the JAMF iOS product maintenance and support renewal, approval of iPad repairs, approval of smartboard purchase for Comanche, approval of request to combine property parcels for county appraisal and taxation purposes, and approval of the Wild West STEM camp for the high school.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Tracy, second by Tammy. All in favor? 7-0. Thank you. All right, next up, new business, curriculum and instruction. Dr. Springston.
Good evening. In your board packet, beginning on page 35, I outline a proposal. I presented this proposal for frontline education to the board, and the board approved it on November 12th. Hindsight, I wish I would have put it in front of the attorney first to look at it and review. I did it opposite direction, and again, I apologize for that. Going forward, I'll make sure that we review contracts prior to coming to the board. But in doing so, I asked Mr. Curbs to review it. So in your packet, you will see the revised contract, the original contract, Mr. Curbs' letter and recommendation, as well as the email exchange with Frontline. And so in your board packet under current consideration, there are 3 areas that your council recommended that we look at. The first one is in reference to section 3.3, which is the warranties and disclaimer section. That section, as well as section 6 under limitations and liabilities. You could see what Mr. Curbs recommended in there, but he did state that if the district felt like there was limited liability because of the product or risk to the district, that we could present it back to the board with approval, understanding that it, based on his legal opinion. So those 2, as you'll see, I am recommending to the board that the board waives those 2 sections and accepts the contract as presented by Frontline, knowing that the risk is slim for both warranties and disclaimers as well as limitations on liability. The section under 5, under indemnification, you'll see that there was a little bit of language added at the very beginning. This is language that Frontline has used with other Kansas school contracts to satisfy the Kansas statute. So I'm recommending that the board approve the contract as presented, with really the main changes is in section 5 with the language, but then also fully understanding and approving section 3.3 and 6 language as originally presented, knowing that we're assuming that there is little to no risk to the school district. The dollar figure is the same, which you'll see under the financial consideration. That's $875 plus tax. Do you have any questions that either I can answer, or I'm glad that I don't want to put them on the spot, but Mr. Curbs is here.
I'll move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Ryan and second by Tammy. All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Head Start Program Governance Board Training. Mr. Barker.
I'm just really hopeful that you've been able to go through all that training and you feel adequately trained. If you have any questions at any time, the graphic that was included in today's board report is probably the best resource I can offer you. But the main thing is that you feel like you've been trained through the materials that you've been able to look through, and more importantly, that you agree to sign the signature form showing that you're trained. So if you're willing to do that, that's all I have this evening.
Okay.
I do appreciate this, though.
Yes.
It gives it succinctly gives you what you need.
Does anybody have any questions for AC? No, ma'am. Okay.
I appreciate his brevity.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go ahead? I was waiting for an introduction.
Mr. Turner.
I come before you tonight to look at the student response manual we've put together. It's a first reading. The purpose of this manual is to provide administrators with procedures, forms, and supporting reference materials to protect the health and well-being of all students in 443. I'd like to come back with a second reading and approval on the January 14th board meeting. If you have any questions over that, it's in the board agenda.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Turner at this time? I think we're good.
That's fast.
Thanks, Matt. Which one was faster? Yeah. All right, next up, Mr. Wick.
Good evening. On page 123, this evening I'm coming to you to add a little bit more equipment that we couldn't get through E-rate. So that's an addition to the E-rate. We just got it approved a few months back. By the way, all the equipment is in. We hope to have it all installed by July 1. But this particular equipment, we couldn't get through E-rate, so we're asking for it additional, and that will pay out of our budgets. I've got everything outlined, what it's for. It allows us to connect things together to act as one, as you can see. Allows us more power, so to speak. And the bids that we went out for are tabulated there. And I explained why I want to go with the second bid instead of the first one. Because if you remember, I came back to you and we had to undo some things because of that company. And the equipment listed down below. And then I said that we're going to buy this with current technology monies.
Okay.
So any questions?
Did you notice I'm using my computer?
Pardon?
Did you notice I'm using my computer for my packet?
I can't hear you.
We're making technological strides up here.
Got her iPad.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yay.
yeah.
There's no hope
Yeah,
here.
Jeff,
Say
forget,
Vikings.
forget Jeff, then we're making progress.
I make a motion for approval.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Tammy, second by Jamie. All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. All right. Dr. Nance?
Sorry.
We're just whipping them through here.
I know, I was trying to save a little step time there. Good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. Dirksen. I am here this evening to present the 2019-2020 staffing request. Typically, we do this in February, but we've moved it up just for recruitment purposes and filling those open positions as quickly as possible. You will see on the information in your packet that we are requesting 1 math teacher for Dodge City High School, 2 science teachers for Dodge City High School, and both of those will be involved in the new Pathways program. We are requesting also 1 first-grade teacher at Miller and 1 first-grade teacher at Sewell. This is part of a continuation of what you approved last year when we came to you asking for additional kindergarten teachers, and that we moved that through to first grade this year, second grade next year in order to lower class sizes. So that's a continuation of that initiative. And then we are requesting a director of security that will be a district level position. Are there any questions about those positions? Anything that I can answer or perhaps the principals can answer?
I'll move for approval.
Okay. I'll second. Motion by Ryan, second by Tracy. All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ramona.
We should have made her sweat a little.
I know.
Good evening. I was going to try to be as fast as some others, but I think that's going to be difficult, but I'll do it as quickly as I can. This evening, the first item is the approval of architecture and engineering services related to the lower level of Building A for the transformation of that facility to the Therapeutic Education Center. And that is on your agenda, and we would recommend that that be approved by the board this evening. I think we've been talking about the TEC program for quite a while. I think you're all aware of that. Are there any questions?
I make a motion for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Tammy, second by Jeff. All in favor? 7-0.
Okay. The next item this evening is approval for change order number 10 Central. This is going to be one of the weirdest things I've ever brought to this Board of Education.
That's saying a lot.
That is true. We wouldn't, the question at Central came up, did we need another room for some instruction? And we concluded it was on again, off again. And we finally were going to approve it. We were ready to bring it to the board. Then we finally concluded we couldn't get it done in time for the open house. It was going to put the whole thing kind of on a back burner. So we decided not to do it this time. The only thing is Hutton picked it up on their thing, and we have been spending the last 2 weeks reconciling the $85 million bond issue. I might tell you that at this point, out of the $85 million, we're down to about $8,000 that we can't completely agree between Hutton, Tom, and us. Everything else is to the dollar. So we're 0.000009% that we'll figure out we will be. But anyway, one of the things is Hutton had picked this up. We later gave the money back basically to the district because we weren't doing it, but we never did have the board approve it. So I've got to do this by audit and everything reflects that we approved it and then we chose not to do it. So I'm asking you to approve it even though we're not going to do this. It's already been given back to the district in the owner's reserve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Tracy, second by Ryan. All in favor? 7-0.
Okay. The next item is basically, as we're coming to the end of the project, Dodge City High School, we basically are adding a fire-rated shutter, a pass-through window at the security entrance, and we are basically bringing back $200,000 that will go back into capital outlay owner's reserve. So we basically brought this project in under budget, and that's good news. And this is, again, we're doing all this so that the auditors can follow all this when they get the final thing.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I thought somebody would jump all over that.
Second.
I'll second it.
Motion by Tammy, second by Jeff. All in favor? 7-0.
I might add, it was fun to give a presentation at Rotary today and to share some information and to be able to say that our bond project, for as large as it was, actually came in not only at budget, but actually under budget. So that's a compliment to everyone involved.
Yeah, very good.
The next item is basically, we had some money left in the Dodge City Middle School Fund, but we did end up spending a little more at Central Elementary. As you're aware, when you start with an old building like Central, and it's been around for a good number of years, there are just things you hit as you go through the construction process. So basically, this fully funds the Central project and just basically moves the money from Dodge City Middle School. So that's the purpose for this thing this evening.
Make a motion. Second. Motion by Tracy, second by Jamie. All in favor? 7-0.
Okay. On page 150, there were some extra, basically architectural fees. The total there is $15,500. I would mention, in January, we anticipate the actual indirect expenses we will bring back to the board. We are about $170,000 to $180,000 under budget on that from Tom's budget for all the miscellaneous costs. So there is $15,000 on this, but you're going to see a return to the budget of between $170,000 and $180,000 next month. We do anticipate in January bringing to you some projects we would have liked to have done with the, with the original construction. But of course, our commitment to you was we'll do everything that the voters voted for. We will do it, try to do it on a timely basis, and we'll try to do it at budget or under budget. We've been successful in that. So there are going to be some things like outdoor security lighting across all of our schools that we're going to bring. We have 4 rooftops that we're going to look at the Dodge City High School. We have some controls that we're going to update at Dodge City High School. And we also have a control budget at Comanche Middle School that I'm glad I was sitting down when I saw the budget on that. But we have a system that's obsolete and really not, you can't even get the parts anymore. So we need to take care of that. Anyway, we'll bring all that to you in January. It will be kind of the finish up project. So I just kind of wanted to tell you as I'm going forward on this.
I'll move for approval.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Jeff. All in favor? 7-0.
Toward the projects we're going to bring you next month, 2 of those we'd like to go ahead and get started on the architecture and engineering. This one we're actually going to do directly with the engineering. And basically what this is going to do, we're going to look at, like I said, security lighting at all schools. We'll also have 3 gymnasiums that we're going to bring the lighting into LED, kind of up to date on that. We believe all those will save energy. The project, it'll take a number of years, but the project will probably pay for itself. But anyway, we're trying to get forward on the engineering so we can get this project underway. And that is the proposal on page 153.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
A second.
Motion by Jamie, second by Tammy. All in favor? 7-0.
Okay. The one other item that we have this evening, we have, I think, some good news. We were hoping to start the Memorial Stadium, or not Memorial Stadium, the administration building about 3 months ago, but we had really 3 issues on that. One, it was a little hard to finally get approval on that from what we wanted in-house, but we think we're finally there. The second thing we had, there was a gentleman that was working for GLMV who was relatively new to their firm, was doing a great job and working on the project, and he had a heart attack and passed away, so that put us a little bit behind on that. And the third item was that you look at the administration building and civic center, it all seems flat. Well, it's not, and we're trying to make sure that we didn't get water. There's going to be kind of a V between the existing civic center and the new administration building. So the geo engineers we're going to do some more dirt work than we anticipated. It took longer to get to that solution, but we're going to design the project so we will not have water in the building. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It just took a little longer. The good news is I can bring you today a guaranteed max price for the new administration building, and this is basically for the first phase. And with this phase, we hope to start breaking ground in the next couple of weeks. We're awaiting a NOI from the state that has been filed. It should be here. If it does, we will start that project this year, which we think is pretty good news. And the other good news about this, we were $600,000 over on the overall budget. We had enough contingency to do the project. That was never a question. But this particular bid came in about $100,000 under budget. So now I've only got another $500,000, and we're actually where we'd like to be and still have all the contingency we'd like. Whether we'll get there or not, I don't know. But we, like I said, we have enough contingency. The project will happen, and we feel very comfortable with that. I mentioned the last meeting we had on the administration building. I just got the minutes from it today. We had 46 items we discussed. Chris and I are going to Wichita Wednesday, where we're going to meet with the architects, the engineer, and Hutton Construction, and we're going to go through the entire project one more time. So we're moving forward on that and trying to make sure we do all of our due diligence that's appropriate for a project of this type and size.
No, you are right. I was thinking about, there is a hill coming from east to west there, and it would pose a water problem.
We're going to solve that before we build the building. It's just taken a little while to get to that solution, but I'd rather do it now than have to come back and do something later on. So.
Okay. Anybody have questions, concerns? Okay. I'll make a motion for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Tammy, second by Ryan. All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you so much. I didn't quite beat the other side, but at least we came close. Thank you.
You did pretty good. Dr. Dirksen.
All right, thank you. Our task now after, actually, we're doing quite well, aren't we, on the schedule? Things really stayed together, and the difficulty is now that requires a ranking of the 3 presentations that we received. It is required to be an open meeting, and it is open to your comment. When I introduced myself to all 3, which I thought that was very interesting, how some things were similar and some things were different, and enjoyed that part of it. I indicated to them that the audience they were speaking to was the board, because you are the representatives for our school district, and you are the ones that will make that decision. Ideally, we'll have a ranking of 1, 2, and 3. And then if you subscribe to the motion that I recommended, then we'll have a panel of 1 board member and the administration team, which I'll ask Mr. Hammond and myself to be a part of it, and Mr. Turner, I think would be good too for that, and 1 board member. And then we'll go with the number 1 choice and try to negotiate a contract. And assuming that can be done, which I see no reason it can't be done, we'll get started. Otherwise, we're waiting for a whole nother month to get started on a project that you heard tonight is going to be difficult at best to get to phase 1, if we can at all. Because I also heard, and did I hear that correctly? I mean, there was one that felt like phase 1 might not be a real possibility. And I appreciated Pamela's comments. We have to look at this in the 50 years Jeff was talking about. We want it done right. We're not rushing this. However, there are some things we can do.
Right.
And so in choosing that and moving forward to that contract, I think we could pull together a special board meeting once we knew we had a contract, and at least get 4 of you here to approve the contract, and then we could move forward on that. That would be my goal.
Okay.
So.
I'll jump in first. My 1, 2, 3 would be Architecture Plus first, then Bruce McMillan second, and the architect third. I felt like Architecture Plus did more homework. They came with actual drawings and a timeline and new ideas that we hadn't considered. So that's why I put them first.
That's exactly the way I had them.
That's exactly how I had them.
I flip-flopped. I put the Bruce McMillan first because I like the way he addressed the ADA items.
Okay.
I had Architecture Plus, the Architect, and then McMillan. But I enjoyed Architecture Plus's presentation. Just to echo Lisa's sentiments, I thought they did their homework and they spent a considerable more time speaking about what they're going to do with our project and what they've done with past projects, which is nice to know their work and professionalism and all that. But I really appreciated that they stuck to our project and
Yeah.
didn't talk about what they'd done with others.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciated how they thought outside the box. Okay, I just, yeah, I'll move on.
I rated the same as Ryan,
Can you give it to me again? I'm trying to keep a running track here. Who was your first choice?
Architect Plus,
Architect Plus.
and then
Second.
the Architecture Plus, the Architect, and then McMillan, sorry. And I really,
hold on a sec, repeat that again. I can see you. Yeah, yeah.
I got
repeat it.
Architecture Plus, and then who's your number two choice?
Architect.
The Architect, okay.
What I really liked out of all that is the personal touch to Dodge City, and they knew what our needs were besides the sports complex. And I think just being local helped that. But the parking lot at Bluefield would solve so many problems. And it's extremely for bright beginnings and access in this cluster of schools that we have together. But phase-wise, I have a lot of confidence in what they're doing, though I am cautious. I don't think that the Shrine Bowl should be our driving factor. And I think our goal is to get the Shrine Bowl in the future, so having it ready for this one isn't a deal breaker.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked what he said about that, the proposal, if they maybe knew that and where we were going.
And Jamie?
Mine was the same as Ryan and hers, the Architecture Plus, then the Architect, and then McMillan. I don't think you could go wrong with probably any of them, but I think definitely the last presentation, the Architecture Plus was, it had done its homework and was ready for tonight, so.
Okay, so did anybody do the math with me? Because what I got is Architecture Plus scored number 1. The Architect scored number 2. And Bruce McMillan scored number 3. And our goal is that we'll get this committee together. I apologize, but I have a relative's funeral on Wednesday, so Wednesday is out for me because I'm spending the day in Enid, Oklahoma. And I'll work with whoever we want to appoint on the board to serve on that committee, and we'll set up a meeting with Architect Plus. If they agree, and we think it's something we can come to terms with, we will. Oh, and I forgot to say, legal counsel is supposed to be at that meeting too. I saw him out there, and he's supposed to be on that committee as well. And if we can get Architect Plus to agree to the terms, then we're done. If something happens that didn't work out, we would go to the Architect next. And I think with the phasing, there's a lot of room for some leeway and that sort of thing, and we just take it as we can come, so.
I think they all would do a nice job.
Yeah.
So that's the way I understand the process. I'm kind of a novice at this, but we're definitely moving forward on it. And it went well tonight, and I think we've done everything as accurately as we can. I feel good about that and appreciate your willingness to make those comments, so.
Do we need to vote? It is an
Yes.
action item. Oh, okay.
I do believe it's an action item, and that, because you're giving us the authority with the board member and the representatives that I talked to meet with this architecture firm to try to work out a contract that will then have to be approved by the entire board.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve our first choice for renovations to Memorial Stadium to be Architecture Plus, the second choice to be the Architect, and the third to be Bruce McMillan. Okay. Motion by Ryan. Jamie seconds. All in favor? 7-0. As far as the board representative, if it's Thursday or Friday of this week, I am out. So we'd need somebody else.
I'm out too.
I am too.
Ryan could do.
Oh, I was not
No.
raising my hand.
It looked as if.
Can we have a vote on whether Ryan raises?
That was perfect timing. I was just kind of going like this. Well, obviously, if there's no other board members, I would be happy to participate, but there's probably
If there's-
others with a little more
Yeah.
experience in that realm, but if need be, I'm happy to do it.
My first thought was that the three board members that did the initial looking at the proposals, it would be good to have one of us on that, but if it's Thursday or Friday, the three of us are out. So if it's next week, I could do it. Just depends.
Clayton, what about your schedule?
It's always down at the attorneys, isn't it?
I couldn't hear you. Okay, well, and we might just have to leave it up to the Architecture Plus and see what days they can meet on. I'll contact them tomorrow, and we'll go with Ryan if it's Thursday or Friday, okay?
If it's Friday and nobody else can come, I possibly could get away.
Now
with
we
somebody
find
else.
out you were just
Yeah, 'cause-
sandbagging.
No,
along.
it's just.
I'll actually be gone Friday. If my services are needed, I could do Thursday. I'll be out of town on Friday.
Okay.
So Friday may work best then, Jeff.
I'm in town, but this is not my skill set.
Now, wait a minute, I'm confused.
So if it's, if
Just like
there's,
the count
there's,
here.
if there's a Thursday meeting, Ryan might be able to do it.
Yeah, if nobody else is available, I
If
can sit
there's-
in on Thursday.
if there's a Friday meeting, Jeff
Jeff can do it.
Could possibly do
Okay.
it.
Stay tuned. And you'd be available too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If she's available Thursday and Friday, I think
Yeah,
she's
we're
the chosen one.
Good to go, yeah.
All right.
There a hay-
Maybe just for clarification's sake, but I think I would like to have a motion that actually authorized board member, board council, and district administration to be able to negotiate the agreement. I think that should be in writing.
Okay.
I would make that motion. What'd you call it, the board council?
You want to say Clayton Curbs, or you want me to be a little more formal?
No, whatever you said, I'll make that motion. But I want to have some clarification on what I'm motioning here. In a court of law, I'm going to be called in.
Yep. Well, and, yeah, notice there should say district administration, board member, and board council to negotiate fees and miscellaneous expenses with the top candidate. If unable to reach the agreement, then the second, and finally the third. After an agreement is reached, the contract shall be prepared, reviewed by the board council, and presented to the board for final approval. And my goal is that approval board is a special meeting, so we can act upon it as quickly as possible.
And I would make that motion to the agreement.
Okay, thank you,
They're
sir.
able to reach that agreement.
Lisa, read that back.
I second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Tammy, all in favor. 7-0. And Dr. Dirksen and I did speak briefly about a possible meeting to approve that, and it would perhaps be just like a 30-minute meeting early in the morning or at 5 o'clock or something, just long enough to approve that, and we only need 4 if we can't get all 7 of us, so.
Always best if we can have everyone here, but if not, we have a quorum, and we'd want to have a unanimous vote in that situation, and then we could move forward. So that would be a wonderful thing, as you heard tonight.
Yes. Okay. And your next item?
Okay, my last item has to do with the situation based upon the problem we had over Thanksgiving. Thanks to a great staff, we did look at our calendar and we found another discrepancy, and one that really hits home for me because I've always been a big supporter and believe that we as a district have a responsibility, not just an obligation, to uphold our beliefs and to care for all. And it was brought to my attention that Martin Luther King Day is represented on the school calendar for a day off for teachers, administrators, and students, and it's a working day for the classified. And as a 6th grade teacher, I spent a lot of time talking about Martin Luther King and presenting his speeches and what he stood for and who he stood for. And I can't rightfully, in the person that I am, think that that's a fair way to represent Martin Luther King Day. And so I'm asking that this board recognize a paid holiday for the entire district.
I think that is more than fair, and make that motion.
Absolutely, I'll second.
Motion by Tracy, second by Jeff. All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have Board of Education member, district responsibilities, Park and Rec Board, Jamie.
I did not have anything from last month.
Okay. Do we have anything, Jay, do we have anything that you know of that we need to know? Okay.
January.
Okay.
Last one I got.
Okay. Ryan, what about Bright Beginnings?
I was, Pamela, did you happen to attend in my stead? I was in California.
No.
The last one, okay. And I already hit Tracy up. She said she didn't cover me either, so.
I was in Dallas.
So Tammy or Mr. Barker, is he still?
Yeah.
Do either, yeah, you guys want to, you mind
Is there anything we need to know?
bailing me out here and giving a quick update on Bright Beginnings since I was unable to attend?
Mostly on trying to explain our link grant plan, which for us involves two parts. One is we are training staff with the latest payment program to fall in line with our literacy objective. And then the other is on the spot, cultural literacy. So that was the main thing that I took. It was a short meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Hires, special education?
Yeah, at our last meeting, we had a very good presentation from the 613 Autism staff. They presented some of the programs, autism near and dear to my heart. I have a grandson who is on the spectrum and was very impressed with their presentation, what they'd like to do, and, the constraints that we have with funding and those things. They work very hard to provide quality services for our young people on the spectrum. Then we got into I've been on the school board like 6.5 years, and what the dangest procedural things we get into at 613. We talk about what to do with the building, what to do with locating the staff at 613. It's out in Ensign, and they're talking about building a new building there, coming to Dodge City, and so.
We got a building they could buy.
Well, no, we got more than that. But anyway, we got a motion on the floor in a second, and nobody wanted to vote on it. And I'm running the meeting, I tell them, we have a motion, we have to vote on it. And so we spent 10 minutes just trying to get them not to vote for what they did, never mind. But it was just crazy. But anyway, they are in 613 is in a quandary in trying to decide where they want to go. When we want to, there's a lot of people even in the smaller districts that want them to come to Dodge.
We've extended an invitation that there's a possibility with our new administration offices that there's plenty of room for them. And so
I wanted you to say that, not me.
They're considering that, and they're looking at that. And to add to that, Clayton and Mr. Hammond met today and talked about some possible language that could be added to some of their concerns, because they want to think of it in terms of beyond 10 years, what that might mean and that sort of thing. So that offer's been put on the table. We're not trying to make it a cash cow for us. We're trying to utilize the resources. And the truth of the matter is, 443 is at least 64% of the special ed co-op. And if you really think about it long-term, I don't think that's ever going to shrink. I think that's only going to increase in the next 10 years. And so our facility is second to none, and I don't think they could come up with anything like that, and I think that we could utilize resources together and make it good for all districts involved, including us. So I see it as a positive, and I see it as almost a no-brainer, but I'm trying, and that was actually said at the meeting when the vote was there. This, to me, this is a no-brainer, said one school, and they made the motion.
Right. And the motion died.
And the motion died.
And the motion died just to that be the only avenue that they explore. And I understand that. They wanted to explore
Other alternatives, yeah.
other alternatives, but building a building in Ensign makes no sense. And especially the kind of money they would have to spend. So anyway, it's an interesting board, and I think we'll get it done, and we'll create a great situation, not just for our district, but for all the districts.
Very good.
Bill, you can.
The one thing, we did have John Maple meet with Tom Montgomery, and from the discussions, it looks like they need about 2,400 square feet of additional space to move their entire operation to our facility. And you will remember as a board that we did build some extra space in. It was basically shell space. And we are working on some budget numbers for them on that. And I anticipate that Tom can give, we were already providing space for all the people here. We were not charging them for that. That was a direction that I took, was given to me when we started the administration building. So we will have some tentative drawings for them hopefully in the next couple of days. And again, Clayton and I met today trying to figure out how to address any concerns they may have. In fact, we even got John on the phone. And Clayton, I think you're going to put together some information on that to work forward with, so.
Yeah, I think it should be all put together.
So we're doing everything we can, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to address any concerns they have and make it, I think, the best long-term for both districts.
Good.
Yeah, when we go to those meetings, I'm always concerned of what we're big, bad Dodge City, 64% of and I'm always conscious of them, but the smaller districts they felt it was, I think they'd rather go to a meeting in Dodge than they would, in Wright. And so, in Ensign, excuse me. And so, I look to some very positive results from that.
Very good. Okay. All right, I'm going to kind of add a little in here. If Pamela or Ryan would like to add anything about the KASB convention?
It was very good, and I had the honor of attending with our in-house counsel, Mr. Curbs, and it was very informative. Went through a couple sessions with Mr. Curbs, and it was excellent information. I'd be glad to share with anyone who's interested afterwards.
Very good.
Good.
Did you want to add anything, Ryan?
And I'll echo those sentiments. So I've been on the board, 7 years or so. This is the third one I've been able to attend. So it'd been several years since I had been, but I enjoyed time there. Pamela and I were able to sit in on a couple of different sessions together. I mentioned a Dr. Dirksen one that I had sat in on school safety. Derby gave a presentation because they had a unfortunate. It's been many decades ago now, 1985 or so, but they had a school shooting, and so they were presenting some of the things they've implemented, changes that they have done throughout the years. And so, I told Dr. at some point I wanted to pass some of that information along. Also sat on one of the legislative sessions, which was interesting to hear about possible changes or things that might come at the state level, of course. So, it was, I'm glad I went. I enjoyed. I served as our delegate during the delegate assembly.
There you go.
So, I was happy to do that, honored to do that. So, I thought things went really, really well. I was glad I was able to go after a handful of years. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us go.
Yeah, thank you. And Pamela, do you have anything legislative-wise?
No, I do not. But I'm on the calendar committee. I could go out of order and get that done. Calendar committee did meet and sent in some calendars, but has there been one chosen?
Today, we sent out several of them that were presented, so people, the committee could take a look at them and choose their top ones.
Was it mine with 189 days?
We sent it out, so it's to be voted on.
It has a fair chance.
It does, absolutely.
If you'd have been there, you wouldn't have thought that.
I don't think it right now, but I thought I ought to
I
say
was the
that.
first one done, but I had 189 days, and nobody seemed to like it for some reason.
Okay, we have capital outlay. We had nothing yet. Calendar committee just went. Kansas Heritage Center, nothing new as far as I'm aware. Dr. Dirksen, did you want to mention the conversation that you had with
Deidre? Or who we talking about the Heritage Center? or-
no, about the voting locations?
Of course, yeah, I appreciate you bringing that to my memory there. We do have some things that are going on, and there is a group that has requested to come to the next board meeting and would like to get the school support for using facilities for voting. And I told Ethel Peterson, who came to me, and a couple of other ladies, and I told her that I had already visited with the board about that and that I'm fully supportive of that idea, but I told her two factors. Number one, the calendar committee had met, and that hasn't been a proposal yet, because number two, the most important key is that it's up to the county clerk. It's not up to the school district where the polling locations are located. But I do think citizens have a right to come to a board meeting and to make a presentation. She definitely has a right to do that. And I do think that we would work with the county if they were to come to us and ask for that possibility. I think we could make that work. So I just want you to be prepared for that. I want you to know that. And as I shared with her, I've already thought this was a good idea, something that we could definitely work with if that's the solution they come up with. But it's not up to us. It's up to the county clerk.
Very good. All right, we've got Tracy up to review district bills before January's meeting.
Yes, I'll be joining by phone because I'll be out of town that day.
Will you have a chance to look through the bills? I can take that over if it's,
I have to leave the middle of the week prior, so if you could do that, that
Yep,
would be fabulous.
I will do that. Okay. All right, announcements. We won't have a second board meeting this month. December 20th is end of quarter workday, no classes. The offices will be closing 4 hours early for the holiday. December 20th until January 4th is the Christmas break. Classes resume Monday, January 7th. And then we have a Board of Education meeting Monday, January 14th, here in the Austin Boardroom at 6 o'clock. And then on January 28th, we will be at Comanche Middle School for our noon meeting. And Monday, February 25th is the tentative date for Dodge City Night in Topeka. That's always a good time for us to go and let legislators know that we're still out here and doing good things. Do we have any items for future board meetings or additional information we need? No? We don't need an executive session this evening?
We do not.
Okay.
I feel like we had a long enough meeting. There's no reason for that.
But the actual meeting part, I mean, we're at
Yeah, we
an
did.
hour.
We did
It's
great.
still 3 hours.
It's
still been 3 hours.
Give me a break. Okay, I make a motion
Any way
to
you
adjourn.
slice it,
We
right?
have a motion by Tammy and a second by Tracy, all in favor, 7-0. Thank you.